Hello, so this is me, I'm Gary from the Paint and Glue YouTube channel. This is the first time in all the dozens and dozens of videos that I've made over the past 3 years that I've actually appeared in front of the camera. All the other videos have been looking down at the desktop, so this is what I look like. Anyway, I thought I'd jump on the kind of bandwagon that's been going around YouTube for the last 4 weeks. I am a wargamer, and the premise is that people in the wargaming sphere have been doing videos explaining how they became wargamers. Normally it's because people nominate you, like one of these Facebook things. I'll nominate somebody else to do it, but nobody nominated me, so I thought I'd do it anyway. And it's been running for a few weeks. I've watched quite a few of them and found them quite interesting, and it's amazing how many old people like me are still wargaming after 40 or 50 years. We all started when we were kids. Anyway, I'm a wargamer. I got interested in the hobby as a young child, as many other lads do, from the age of about 6 or 7, when I was into airfix kits and revel kits, mainly aircraft, and then vehicles and tanks and soldiers. And like many young boys at age, I had a bedroom with lots of aircraft hanging off the ceiling. So we started playing with the airfix soldiers, the little HO scale ones, little sort of slippery plastic it was. And they did loads of stuff. They did World War II and Napoleonic, and they did American Civil War and Indians. They even did astronauts. And I think I probably had all the sets that they did, including the big kits that they did with the gun emplacements and the coastal defence battery and sandbags and the little tanks, the Tiger tanks and Sherman and Panther tanks that they did that came in a little box. I got all those, and we started wargaming in those days. For us was setting up little camps opposite each other in the sort of copse at the end of the street, where we would build little camps and protect our soldiers with stones and sticks and twigs, and then we'd throw stones at them, and if you could demolish the opponent's encampment and kill or hit the soldiers inside with your stones, you took them out of the game, and that was our war games rules. So that sort of progressed, and I started collecting and painting and getting involved in the military modelling, and went to big school and carried that on, and I met a lad who also wargamed, and we started doing it kind of properly. He had British and Prussian armies in metal, and I used to go to a little shop in the town centre. It was called H.A. Blunt & Sons, and it catered for all your modelling needs, and they sold Hinchliff figures. So I would go down there at the weekend with my pocket money and rummage through little blue boxes with yellow labels on, finding French Napoleonic stuff and building up an army. When it came to the sixth form, I think we joined or we wargamed with various other people at a little club in Welling Garden, and then my mate left for university and I left to join the police, and we kind of went our separate ways. But before we did, he gave me his complete set. He's a British Army and his Prussian Army metal figures. He couldn't take them to uni, and he just gifted them to me, which was really nice, and I kept them for many years. So we we went our separate ways, and I was stationed at Stevenage, and I lived above the police station, and I had a kind of little hostel with 6 or 8 rooms, and I think I may have taken out an advert in the local paper asking if anybody was interested in wargaming, and a few people responded, so I invited them round to the police station, and we would wargame in the common room or the living room of the single men's hostel. And we did that for a while. There was a mixture of sort of teenagers, people my age, and some retired folks. And that was, I think that was all Napoleonic wargaming. So that went on for a while, and then I got transferred to Letchworth, where I still live. And this would have been 1984. So that wargaming came to an end. I then got transferred a year or two later to Hertford, and I met Ken, and many of you will know Ken through his YouTube channel, The Eccentric Man, and we were on the same shift together in 1986. I think I went there till 91. So I used to wargame with Ken. I think we went around his house a few times, and we're still carrying on, still building up the collection, still modelling and painting. And then we both went our separate ways, as you do when you're in the police. You tend to stay somewhere for a few years and then get moved on. So I transferred out into the sticks of Hertfordshire, and I'm not sure where Ken went. He ended up at headquarters teaching new recruits, I think. So I got married, had children. The wargaming took a back seat, although I was still collecting stuff and still painting. Most of my interest really has been the collecting and the painting rather than the actual wargaming, and that's still consistent sort of through 50 years, I guess. I've always enjoyed painting and collecting them, and I've got hundreds and thousands of stuff that I haven't painted yet, that I've collected. Anyway, so it got to the stage where I hadn't wargamed for a while, and there was no likelihood of me wargaming, so I actually sold my collection. I had several thousand, mainly French, and of course the British and Prussians that I'd been given, and I sold them all on eBay about 10 years ago, and that was fun. I gave my daughters, I've got 3 daughters, and I let them choose a unit, and they could sell it, and whatever it sold for they got to keep. So you know, if they were lucky, they'd get, you know, 15 quid for a unit. If they picked a, you know, really decent unit, they might have got, you know, 40 or 50 quid for it. So anyway, the whole lot went. I'm just going to pause the video because I'm filming this on my DSLR, and it only holds up to 4 GB files, which is about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to pause it and restart it. So the collection was sold. I was still collecting models, and mainly vehicles and aircraft, and painting those up. And then about five or 6 years ago, I thought I'd get back into wargaming. So I'd found by then that you could buy plastic figures relatively cheaply, and certainly not at the cost that the metal figures were costing. So I started buying Victrix, Napoleonic, French, and I built up a nice little army which is all painted. But to date I've not wargamed with them at all. They're all in the loft, although if I look to my right, I can see at least 12 boxes of Victrix Napoleonic stuff up there to add to it. Anyway, so I started collecting the Napoleonic stuff, and then I thought I'd get back into the actual wargaming, and I fancied doing some World War II wargaming, so I looked around and I came across Battle Group rules, which I think people are playing in 20mm, maybe 15mm. So I bought myself some 15mm tanks and vehicles, painted them all up, ended up with quite a hefty German, Russian and American armies. No figures, just the tanks, and painted those all up, and still haven't wargamed with. I've wargamed with them once or twice, but that's using bolt action rules, as it turned out. Anyway, I bumped into to Ken again on Facebook, and he suggested bolt action. So I went over one night when Ken was playing, a guy called Colin, round at Colin's house in Biggleswade, and I popped round and sat down and just watched them play, and then I started to get into it. So I think I'd joined, or I was, around that time I joined the Letchworth Wargames Club, and I've met a guy called Mark, who I still wargame with now, and we started trying to teach each other bolt action. Unfortunately, the club is such that there aren't many historical wargamers, and most people play, or half the club plays Magic the Gathering card game, and the other half plays Warhammer. Very occasionally we found that they did historical stuff, so it's just me and Mark basically on a Wednesday night. There is another club fairly close in Hitchin, but they meet on a night that I can't do because I'm a member of a photography group, and we meet on Thursday, so I can't go to that. So in the end we left that, and we found Lost Art Games in Stevenage, which is a shop that sells loads and loads of board games and stuff, fantasy and all the rest of it, but it does do bolt action and some historical stuff, and that's where Ken Eccentric Man plays, and so we joined there, and they play every 2 weeks on a Sunday, well, they used to, and that's where I do most of my wargaming now, mainly bolt action and Wild West. Unfortunately, I'm quite a busy man because I've got several interests. So I run a choir, and I used to run the camera club, which I gave up 2 years ago. But it means that my spare time is really limited. So I do a lot of sports photography, and during the cycling season, which is what I do at the moment, I can't go to the Wargames Club on a Sunday, so I'll miss out for a third of the year. But anyway, that's where I wargame, and hoping to get back to that fairly soon. My current interests in wargaming are Napoleonic, World War II, ancient, mainly Roman type stuff, Wild West, American Civil War, Crusades, only historic stuff. No interest in fantasy or anything Space Marine, Warhammer stuff. Although I confess I do have some Warhammer Space Marine type stuff. Is that Warhammer? Anyway, Space Marines. I've got a few boxes and a few vehicles. For no other reason than I enjoy painting them. I've got no interest in wargaming with them, but I do enjoy painting them because I think they do look quite nice. But I don't game with them. I've got no intention of doing so. So that's where we are in terms of wargaming. It kind of took a sudden turn 18 months ago when I bought a 3D printer, and you can probably see some 3D printers behind me. I found that I was buying these tanks and things for sort of 18-22 quid a time, and I came across something on Facebook, I think probably, or somebody's blog, that they were printing 3D tanks, and I thought I could save myself some money here. So I bought a 3D printer and started printing my own tanks, and showed them to a couple of people who said, oh, you could sell those. So I thought, yeah, maybe I could. So I made a website and put a few vehicles on there, and put a little kind of thing on the Bolt Action Facebook page, and the orders started to come in. So much so that I had to buy another machine within a month, and then another one, and then another one, and hence Paint and Glue Miniatures was born. And the reason I call it Paint and Glue was because my wargaming and terrain building YouTube channel, which I'd already started, was called Paint and Glue, and so it made sense just to add miniatures to the end and use that as the name of the 3D printing business. So I've now got 13, what have I got, 8, 9, 11, no, I've got 13 printers now, including 3 resin printers, and they're not working at the moment because I've spooled them down this morning when they were finished what they were printing, knowing that I'd be creating some videos this evening, because they do make a bit of a noise. You may have heard on some of the other videos that I've done, so they're all off, but normally they're printing 24 hours a day, and that has enabled me to enjoy getting back into wargaming, because I've been able to buy stuff that I wouldn't have been able to afford before. You know, I can use some of the profit that I make from printing to invest in my hobbies, which is great, but it does mean that I lack the time to actually paint the stuff. So I'm finding that I'm buying stuff. I do a lot of unboxing videos, but a lot of that stuff that I'm unboxing, I'm not having the opportunity to paint. I still work full time for the police, and I work 8 to 4. So I do my 3D printing in the evenings and at the weekends, and that takes up an awful lot of time, which doesn't leave me much time to paint all my minis, which I'm looking at up there, and loads and loads more in the loft. So I kind of lost my thread there. Anyway, that's where we are in terms of the wargaming. The next sort of question on this round was, where do you see the channel in 5 years? Well, I'm 60 now, so hopefully in 5 years' time I'll have been retired from my main job, which will give me 8 hours a day extra, and I might get more stuff painted. I'd like to do more of my own work and tutorials that I started off the channel doing, which I don't have time for because of the 3D printing, because I used to really love making stuff and showing people. I've always been one to really enjoy passing stuff on, so that's why I ran the camera club, why I run a choir, you know, so I can pass on, you know, the little that I do know to other people and pass on my enjoyment. So I'd like to do that more. Excuse me. It would be nice to get a little bit more interaction from the visitors. I get a little bit jealous sometimes when I see other people's channels, and they've got a lot more interaction from their viewers than I get from mine. I don't know whether that's because I'm just doing sort of unboxing stuff at the moment, And I'm not showing off my own painted minis, I don't know. But I quite often, wish that I'd get more sort of dialogue going with people. I get a lot of visitors. I was looking yesterday when I was watching a couple of these I'm a Wargamer videos, and it was interesting to see because the TubeBuddy thing pulls up a chart where you can see your visitors compared to the visitors of the channel that you're visiting, and it was interesting to see that loads of them had less subscribers and less views, but lots more interaction. So it'd be nice if I could discover the key to that, and get a bit more two-way stuff going. But I don't see the channel changing. Sorry about that. The camera cut out. The card fills up, and it'll only make videos 3.99 gigabytes, and then it stops. So I was saying that I don't suppose the channel will change much, other than I'd really like to share more of the creative content. And the last part was what advice would you give to potential new YouTubers? And I would say that I'm probably not in the best position to give advice. A lot of the other channels, certainly the ones I subscribe to, are I think probably a lot more successful than I am. My one is, so I'll probably leave it to them to advise. But maybe one thing I would say is, if you're going to start a YouTube channel, then just commit to it. It's really disappointing sometimes when you invest in a blog or a channel because you like the content and you want to see more, and you go back next week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months later and they haven't posted anything. So if you're going to do it, commit to it and post regularly, and whether that regularly is once a day, once a week, once a month, once a fortnight, I don't suppose it matters, as long as your viewers get used to when you're going to post, or that that you are going to post, and then they'll keep coming back, I guess. So that's it from me. I hope you found some of that interesting, and you got the opportunity to view the person behind the voice. So thanks very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, perhaps you could do that. Well, the other bit of advice is don't put thumbs down on people's videos. It doesn't happen very often, I suppose, but you see thumbs down. I mean, what is the point of doing that? You don't, you're not being constructive. You're not offering any advice, or it's fine. If somebody's video is a bit quiet, or the music is a bit loud, then by all means, put a little bit of constructive criticism or suggestion on there. But just don't put a thumbs down, just to be an arse. So that's it from me.